Meet the lizard that looks like a dead leaf, disappears in plain sight, and might just be the best hide-and-seek champion on Earth. This is the satanic leaf-tailed gecko, a lizard so good at playing dead leaf that it might just walk past you. Or, stay completely still while you walk past it. This little reptile has mastered camouflage to such an absurd degree that it doesn't just blend in with the forest floor. It becomes the forest floor. Today, we're diving into the world of evolution's most committed method actor, a gecko that said, "I want to be a leaf," and the universe said, "Bet." Stick around, because this story has predators, fake-outs, evolutionary arms races, and yes, a surprisingly compelling reason why we named a gecko after the devil himself. Let's get into it. So, where do you find a creature this extra? Madagascar, obviously, because that island is basically nature's laboratory for weird and wonderful. These geckos live in the rainforests of eastern and northern Madagascar, chilling in the trees and leaf litter like they own the place. The satanic leaf-tailed gecko, scientific name Uroplatus fantasticus, is part of a genus called Uroplatus, which translates to flat tail. Cute, right? Except fantasticus means imaginary or fantastic, because when scientists first saw this thing, they probably thought, there's no way that's real. And the satanic part? Well, look at those eyes. Those blood-red, cat-like eyes staring into your soul? Yeah, early observers took one look and went, that's a demon. That's a tiny forest demon. Add in the weird horns above its eyes, the eerie stillness, and the whole looks dead but isn't vibe, and boom, satanic leaf-tailed gecko. Honestly, fair. But here's the thing. This demon isn't here to haunt you. It's here to disappear. Let's talk about this lizard's party trick, and trust me, it's a good one. The satanic leaf-tailed gecko doesn't just kind of look like a leaf. It looks like a dead, decaying, been on the ground for weeks leaf. We're talking full commitment here. Check out the texture. Rough, wrinkled skin that mimics the veins and ridges of a dried leaf. The coloration? Browns, tans, rusty reds, all the colors of decomposition. But here's where it gets wild. Some individuals even have patches and notches along their edges that look like insect bite marks or fungal decay. Evolution said, you know what sells this? Imperfection. And it was right. This camouflage isn't just for show. In the dense rainforests of Madagascar, being invisible means staying alive. The gecko's predators, birds, snakes, and the occasional lemur, rely on movement and shape to spot prey. So this gecko does the most galaxy brain thing possible. It becomes part of the scenery. During the day, it presses its body flat against tree bark or tucks into leaf litter, and it just stops. No movement, no flinching. It becomes a still life painting. You could be staring right at one and not know it. And here's the kicker. Even its tail is designed to disappear. It's flat, leaf-shaped, and frayed along the edges. When the gecko curls it up or drapes it over a branch, it looks like just another dead leaf caught in the bark. This isn't just camouflage. This is art. Now, you might be wondering, if this gecko spends all day pretending to be a leaf, what does it do at night? Great question, because when the sun goes down, this little demon wakes up. The satanic leaf-tailed gecko is nocturnal, and those creepy red eyes, they're actually perfectly adapted for low-light hunting. At night, it creeps through the trees, slowly, methodically, searching for prey. And what's on the menu? Insects, crickets, moths, beetles, spiders, basically anything small, crunchy, and unfortunate enough to cross its path. The gecko uses a classic sit-and-wait strategy. It finds a good spot, stays still, and when an insect gets close enough, snap, lightning-fast strike, dinner secured. But here's the fun part. Even when it's hunting, it stays in character. It moves in slow, deliberate motions, mimicking the swaying of leaves in the breeze. So even when it's active, it's still playing the part. And if a predator gets too close, it doesn't panic. It doesn't run, it just freezes. Again, because when your entire survival strategy is be a leaf, commitment is everything. Alright, so let's say you're a bird. You're hungry, you're scanning the forest floor for a snack. How does this gecko avoid becoming your dinner? Step 1, don't move. Seriously, the gecko's first line of defense is to do absolutely nothing. It relies entirely on its camouflage. And honestly, it works most of the time. But what if the predator gets suspicious? What if it's getting too close? Step 2, the tail twitch. If a predator zeroes in, the gecko will sometimes flick its tail. Just a quick, subtle movement. This draws the predator's attention to the tail, which, remember, looks like a dead leaf. The predator thinks, oh, that's just a leaf caught in the wind, and moves on. It's a misdirection, a fake-out, a bluff. And if things get really dire, if the predator actually grabs the tail, step 3, drop it. Like many geckos, the satanic leaf-tailed gecko can shed its tail to escape. The tail keeps wriggling, distracting the predator, while the gecko makes a break for it. It's the ultimate look over there move. The tail eventually grows back, but it won't look quite as perfect. Still, better a weird tail than no life at all. So, how did we get here? How does a gecko evolve to look this much like a dead leaf? The answer, like most things in evolution, is very slowly. and with a lot of trial and error. Millions of years ago, the ancestors of the satanic leaf-tailed gecko lived in Madagascar's forests. And in those forests, predators were everywhere. Birds, snakes, mammals, all looking for an easy meal. The geckos that survived, they were the ones that were slightly harder to spot. Maybe they had a bit more brown coloration. Maybe their tails were a bit flatter. Over generations, those traits got passed down. The better you blended in, the longer you lived, the more babies you had. Fast forward a few million years, and you get this. A gecko so specialized, so finely tuned to its environment, that it's basically undetectable. And it's not alone. Nature is full of masters of disguise. Leaf insects, dead leaf butterflies, stonefish, orchid mantises. Evolution loves a good disguise, and the satanic leaf-tailed gecko is one of the best in the business. It's a reminder. In nature, survival isn't about being the biggest or the strongest. Sometimes, it's about being invisible. But here's the thing, the satanic leaf-tailed gecko's superpower only works if it has a forest to disappear into. And Madagascar's forests? They're disappearing. Slash and burn agriculture, logging, illegal pet trade. Madagascar has lost over 90% of its original forest cover. And for a species that's this specialized, that's a crisis. The satanic leaf-tailed gecko is currently listed as least concerned by the IUCN, but that's partly because we don't know enough about their population numbers. They're hard to find because, camouflage, and they're restricted to small pockets of forest. The good news? There are conservation efforts underway. Protected reserves, reforestation projects, and regulations on the pet trade are helping. But it's a race against time. And honestly, a world without creatures this weird, this wonderful, this perfectly adapted would be a less magical place. So, what have we learned today? We've learned that Madagascar is home to a lizard, so committed to the bit that it literally looks like forest trash. We've learned that evolution is the ultimate artist, sculpting creatures with patience and precision over millions of years. And we've learned that sometimes, the best way to survive isn't to fight, it's to disappear. The satanic leaf-tailed gecko reminds us that nature is full of surprises, that even in a world we think we understand, there are still tiny demons hiding in plain sight, waiting to blow our minds. Turns out, the devil's in the details, especially if those details look exactly like a leaf. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into nature's wildest creatures, and drop a comment. What other animal should we cover next? Until then, stay curious, stay weird, and remember, sometimes the most extraordinary things are the ones you almost didn't see.